Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to find any hiring manager's email address in seconds. Most people skip the most important step of all. Every cold email campaign lives or dies on the quality of the list it's sent to. You can have airtight infrastructure, a killer subject line, and copy that converts, and still get nothing back if the list is wrong. Wrong people, wrong titles, bounced emails, and outdated contacts. The campaign fails before a single word even gets read. This doc covers exactly how I build my lead lists, the tools I use, the filters I apply, the verification steps I run, and the specific workflow that fed the campaign that generated a 22.5% positive apply rate, targeting staffing and recruitment firms across the US. This is part of an ongoing series where I'm documenting my cold email campaigns in real time. The infrastructure, deliverability, subject line, and tech stack docs all precede this one. So if you haven't watched those videos, I'd encourage you to go watch those first. My name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. Everything in this doc is based on what I actually do. It's not just some theory, and it's not some best practice from a blog post. This is the exact workflow I run to build every lead list before a campaign goes live. So why list quality is the real variable? There is a common assumption in cold email that copy is the primary lever. Write better emails and you get more replies. And copy does matter a lot, don't get me wrong, but the copy can't save a bad list. If you're emailing the wrong person at a company, the best copy in the world doesn't help you. If you're emailing someone who left that role 6 months ago, your email either bounces or lands in a mailbox that nobody checks. If your email addresses are unverified and bounce 15% of the time, your domain starts accumulating a reputation problem that damages every single future campaign you run from then on out. List quality is the foundation. Everything else, copy, subject lines, and follow-up timing, all sits on top of that. A good list with mediocre copy will outperform a bad list with great copy. Fix the foundation before optimizing the surface. So the two tools that do the work, Apollo and Clay. Apollo is a B2B contact database with one of the largest collections of verified prospect data available. It lets you filter by industry, company size, revenue, job title, location, technology used, hiring signals, and a dozen of other parameters. The result is a targeted export of contacts that match your ICP. Now, Clay is the layer that sits between Apollo and your sending tool. It takes your raw Apollo export and runs it through a series of enrichment and verification steps, such as cleaning company names, verifying emails, cross-referencing LinkedIn data, and outputting a campaign-ready CSV. Clay connects to dozens of data providers simultaneously, so you're not manually checking each step. Together, these two tools handle the full list building workflow. Apollo finds the people, and Clay cleans and verifies the data. So step number 1 is define your ICP before even touching Apollo. The most important step in list building happens before you even open Apollo. It's defining exactly who you're targeting. ICP stands for Ideal Customer Profile. It's the specific description of the type of company and person most likely to need what you're offering and have the authority to buy it. So for my first campaign, my ICP was staffing and recruitment firms with 1 to 20 employees in the US, and I was targeting founders, owners, presidents, managing directors, and principals. Every one of those parameters has a reason behind it. So I chose staffing and recruitment firms as my niche because they have an identifiable, measurable problem I could speak directly to. They need to connect with hiring managers at companies that are actively looking to staff roles. Cold email is a natural fit for this. I chose 1 to 20 employees because smaller agencies are more likely to have the founder directly involved in business development, which means the person I'm emailing is also the person who makes the decision. Larger agencies have layers between me and the decision maker, which makes it far more difficult. I chose the US because it's the largest market for staffing and recruitment, the niche has volume at scale, and the US business culture is relatively receptive to cold outreach. Now, obviously, I chose the founders, owners, presidents, and managing directors just because their title indicates genuine decision-making authority. Mid-level titles. Now, you want to stay away from people with mid-level titles like recruiters, account managers, and consultants. If your ICP is vague, your list will be vague. Your copy will be generic, and your results will be mediocre. The more specific the ICP, the more targeted the list, the more specific the copy can be, and the better the results. Step number 2 is building and filtering the set in Apollo. Once you have a clear ICP, begin translating it into Apollo filters. Once you have a clear ICP, translating it into Apollo filters is very straightforward. Here is the exact filters that I used. For job titles, I was filtering for founders, owners, presidents, managing directors, and principals, and I was excluding recruiters, account managers, consultants, and director of any sort of operational wing. For the company filters, I was filtering for staffing and recruitment with an employee count of 1 to 20 and in the United States. For the data quality filters, I ensured the email status was verified, and I excluded contacts with no email address listed. Once the filters are set, Apollo will show you the total number of contacts for that match. For my staffing niche with these parameters, the addressable pool was hundreds of thousands of contacts, enough to run multiple campaigns without running out of fresh leads. Now for pulling the list, you want to export it in a CSV format. You want to include the first name, surname, email, company name, title, LinkedIn URL, and city and state. You don't need every single field that Apollo offers. Keep it clean and only bring through the fields you'll actually use in personalization or verification. Never pull more contacts that you can verify and send to in a reasonable time frame. A list that sits unused for 3 months starts going stale as more people change roles and companies. Step 3. Import into Clay and run the verification workflow. The raw Apollo export goes straight into Clay, and here is the exact workflow I run on every list before it goes anywhere near SmartLead. Step 3A. Email verification via Zero Bounce. Clay connects natively to Zero Bounce. For every contact in the list, run the email through Zero Bounce's verification API. Zero Bounce checks whether the email address actually exists and is capable of receiving mail. When Clay runs emails through Zero Bounce, you get 2 columns back, the AI email validated result and the deliverability status. The deliverability status is the one that drives your filtering decisions. Zero Bounce returns these deliverability values here: valid, invalid, do not mail, catch-all, or unknown. My rule for filtering is keep valid and remove all the other ones. Removing all those other ones before the campaign goes live is non-negotiable. Each of these categories introduces bounce risk or complaint risk that compounds across every domain in your infrastructure. Step 3B is cleaning the company name. This step sounds minor, but it really is important. Apollo exports company names with their full legal name. That means you'll see entries like Acme Recruiting LLC, Premier Staffing Solutions Pty Ltd, or Allied Placement Group Inc. If those go into your subject or email bodies as personalization variables, they read immediately as a template. So for example, no one writes, "Hi Sarah, I came across Acme Recruiting LLC on LinkedIn," in a genuine email. That just sounds completely templated. In Clay, you want to create a formula column inside of ChatGPT that removes any of those legal suffixes, that gets rid of LLC, Inc., Pty Ltd, Co, and Corp, and any other trailing punctuation. The result should be clean, natural sounding company names like Acme Recruiting, Premier Staffing Solutions, and Allied Placement Group. Test every clean company name against this question. Does this look like how a real person would refer to this company name in a conversation? Test every clean company name against this question. Does this look like a real person would refer to this company in a conversation? If yes, then you've cleaned it successfully. Now step 3C is LinkedIn spot checking. For a random 10% sample of the list, open the LinkedIn URL that came through with the Apollo export and verify. Does this person still work at the company? Is the title consistent with what Apollo shows? And is this company still operating? Apollo's data has a lag. People change roles, companies close. A LinkedIn spot check on a sample of the list tells you whether the data quality is acceptable before going through the whole campaign. A LinkedIn spot check on a sample of the list tells you whether the data quality is acceptable before the whole campaign goes live. If spot checking reveals a high rate of stale data, like more than 10 to 15% of the data showing role changes or company closures, the list needs a full refresh or niche targeting needs to be tightened. Step 3D is exporting the clean CSV. Once the verification and cleaning are done, export from Clay as the CSV with the following fields: first name, last name, a verified email, the company name that's cleaned, title, LinkedIn URL, the city, and the state. The CSV is what goes into SmartLead. Nothing else should touch the list between Clay and uploading. The workflow sounds like a lot of steps. In practice, once the Clay table is set up with the right columns and integrations, running a new list through takes minutes, not hours. The setup investment pays back on every subsequent campaign. Step number 4 is uploading to SmartLead. With a clean, verified CSV, the upload process in SmartLead is very simple. Create a new campaign and upload the CSV. Then you map your CSV columns to SmartLead's variables, and you want to make sure that state goes under custom variable because we also double check the state as well. Verify the mapping looks correct on the preview. Then you want to set your sending schedule and write your sequence or paste in your pre-written copy. With a clean, verified CSV ready, the upload process in SmartLead is straightforward. Create a new campaign, upload the CSV under the lead section, map your CSV columns to SmartLead's variable fields, and ensure that state is a custom variable. Verify the mapping looks correct on the preview, set your sending schedule, write your sequence, and launch. It's literally as simple as that. SmartLead will automatically rotate sends across all your connected mailboxes and manage the follow-up timing between steps in your sequence. The list quality checklist. ICP defined with specific industry, company size, geography, and decision maker titles. Apollo filters set to match the ICP exactly. Apollo export includes only the fields needed for personalization and verification. All emails run through Zero Bounce verification. Invalid and unknown emails are removed in the Clay filters before the export. Company names cleaned and stripped of legal suffixes. LinkedIn spot check completed on 10% of the data. The spot check showed less than 10 to 15% of the data was stale. Final CSV exported with verified, valid status only data, and ensure that the CSV fields are mapped correctly in SmartLead before launch. Now some common list building mistakes. Number 1 is the targeting is too broad. B2B companies in the US is not an ICP. Neither is marketing agencies or tech startups. The broader the target, the more generic the copy has to be, and it will get ignored. Narrow your ICP until your list feels almost too specific. Mistake number 2 is skipping the verification entirely. Sending to an unverified list is the fastest way to accumulate bounces and damage your domain reputation. Every bounce is a signal to inbox providers that your email is not wanted or expected. Enough bounces and your entire infrastructure starts landing in spam. Verification is not optional. Mistake number 3 is using dirty company names in the personalization. Acme Recruiting LLC in a subject line is a dead giveaway that the email was generated from a database export. It takes 30 seconds to set up a cleaning formula in Clay, so make sure you do it. Mistake number 4, pulling too many contacts at once. A list of 10,000 unverified contacts is not 10 times as valuable as a list of 1,000 verified contacts. It's worse. Larger unverified lists means higher bounce rate, more stale data, and more effort managing the cleanup. Pull in batches that match your campaign sending capacity and clean as you go. Mistake number 5 is not checking whether the person still works there. Apollo's data can be months old. For any niche where people move roles frequently, and staffing recruitment is one of them, LinkedIn verification on a sample of the list is non-negotiable. A 15% role change rate on your sample is a warning sign that the list needs a refresh. So what this means for you: list quality is the first constraint in cold email. Before copy, before subject lines, before sending limits, the list has to be right. The workflow here is not complicated. Apollo to find the people, Clay to clean and verify the data, Zero Bounce inside of Clay confirms the emails are valid, a LinkedIn spot check to confirm the data is valid, and a clean CSV export into Smartly to send. Every step exists for a specific reason. If you skip any of them, you're introducing risk that shows up as bounces, low reply rates, or burned infrastructure. I'm documenting everything here on this YouTube channel in real time, the campaigns, the copy, and the results, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.